Hello everyone, welcome to the Storyist. In life, it is easy to judge someone based on their physical appearance. We see an old man with faded clothes and we call them a tramp. We witness a young girl with lipstick on and we say she does not have manners. We come across a black teenager and we say they are dealing with harmful substances. We are so quick to judge others just by looking at their physical appearance, their race, the way they dress, and other factors that affect our perception of someone. And we easily come to these conclusions without even trying to see the other side of the story. Today, I will be telling you a story about a rich man who had to learn the consequences of easily judging others the hard way, as this rich man humiliates a poor waitress in front of everyone, without realizing who she really was. Stay until the end of the video to find out who the waitress really was, and how the rich man learned his lesson. Matthew is a very wealthy businessman. He has a wide array of businesses sprawled throughout the country. His businesses range from hotels to luxurious restaurants, to spas and salons, and even to motorcycles. Basically, Matthew has it all. Apart from his very wealthy life, Matthew is a passionate investor as well. After all, it is in investing that he actually became wealthy. His story of how he became successful is one for the books. He has not always been that wealthy until he started investing. Because of this, his name always pops up when it comes to investments. And he has also been a trusted partner for many big businesses and even banks. As stated earlier, Matthew has not always been wealthy. He used to scrub bathhouse floors when he was still struggling to pay for his college fund. He was born to a poor family. He had 7 siblings, and that alone made living for them a constant struggle. His 7 siblings all went to school, but not everyone had the chance to enter college. As a matter of fact, it was only Matthew who had the chance. Ever since Matthew was a little boy, he had always shown interest in entrepreneurship. He would imitate their school vendors by buying school materials for a discounted price and selling them at school for a higher price than the regular. He used these earnings to buy his own supplies, such as his notebooks, pens, erasers, bags, and if there were leftovers from his earnings, he would share this to his brothers and sisters too. His parents had always felt they were so lucky to have Matthew in their family, as they had always believed that Matthew would be the one to take them up to the social ladder. After all, it was only Matthew who had shown some potential and genuine dedication to changing their situation at home. Luckily, and merely because of his hard work and perseverance, Matthew caught the attention of their school board when he was in high school. The board of directors of their campus saw the potential of Matthew in the business world and offered him a scholarship funded by the board. Matthew was really excited back then. And even though going to university meant leaving his family behind, he knew it was the right thing to do. That day, Matthew went home thrilled to tell his family the good news. They were all so happy for him, and right after his high school graduation, he flew to a different state to study entrepreneurship. In college, Matthew's dedication and passion for the field made him stand out. For 4 long years, he became his class's top student, and he graduated college with high honors. His success in education reflected a great advantage in his resume, and therefore made him at the top of candidates list in one of the best brokerage firms in his state. It did not take long for him to land a good corporate job in the brokerage firm, and soon enough, he progressed really well. In just a span of a few years, he was able to climb up the corporate ladder and become one of the bosses in the firm. Then one achievement followed the other, until eventually, Matthew had finally become one of the wealthiest people their firm had ever produced. However, despite all his wealth, he failed to keep and fulfill his promise to his family. He said he wanted to be rich so that he could change their situation at home, but it seemed like Matthew may have forgotten about his family. As he was busy making himself richer and richer, he would only remember his family for a short time. Then he would send some packages or money for them to help. But his help was not sufficient enough to entirely help his family move up and change their lives. It's like he had forgotten about them for good. But what he did not realize was that all the worldly things that he is having today are all borrowed from someone with a greater power. And since he is not taking care of it well, it might be snatched away from him. One morning, Matthew enters a luxurious restaurant for a full breakfast meal. He has a very important meeting that morning, and he is so pumped to start the meeting with. It will be about a big partnership with the world's richest airline industry, Union American Airlines. And he is looking forward to billions of dollars in profit from this huge partnership. With all the glee and enthusiasm he can muster, he opens the door to the restaurant and almost hits a waiter bringing a cup of hot coffee to the people dining al fresco. "Hey, watch where you're going, stupid boy!" Matthew harshly yells at the waiter. The waiter just bows his head in embarrassment and apologizes repeatedly. Matthew's mood immediately shifts from delighted to annoyed. Now, he feels like his whole morning is ruined, thanks to that waiter. The restaurant is called the Hudgenses, and the uniform of the staff is familiar to everyone who frequents the place. Red and yellow polo shirt paired with a skirt for females, and a pair of khaki pants for males. As Matthew sits down on one of the round tables, a woman in a red and yellow polo shirt and skirt walks past him, carrying what seems to be cardboard that, for Matthew, looks like the menu. Matthew raises his hand and snaps his fingers in front of the woman, but the woman just passes by him. This makes Matthew more enraged, so he yells at the poor waitress. "Hey, you! I tell you when to serve me or not, okay? We all pay you here, so don't act like a brat and just do your job," Matthew exclaims, obviously losing patience. The woman seems shocked when Matthew shouts at him. She even looks around to see if it is her that Matthew is really yelling at. "Excuse me, sir, are you talking to me?" the woman politely asks. Her eyes are filled with confusion. "Who else do you think? There's no other filthy-looking waitress here, is there?" Matthew says, now standing in front of the waitress. His eyes and stance are daunting. "I'm sorry, but there has been a misunderstanding. I don't..." The woman's statement is cut off as Matthew tells her to shut her mouth. Matthew then starts to insult the woman by her looks, saying that she has the worst makeup he has ever seen, the ugliest stilettos, and that she looks like nothing but a dumb waitress. The woman almost breaks into tears, but she stops herself. She tries to gain back her composure and says, "What I meant to say was, I don't work here." Then the woman leaves the restaurant without saying anything. Matthew feels a little embarrassed as he caused a scene for nothing, but he isn't regretting his harsh words to the woman at all. After a hearty breakfast, Matthew runs to the office of the big business partner he is meeting with. "Hi, Sir Matthew, Miss Alicia will see you now," says the secretary. Hearing the name, Matthew gains a little confidence, thinking that it might be an advantage for him that the business partner is a girl, so he can flirt his way to success. But the moment Miss Alice steps in, Matthew's face becomes pale. It was the woman from the restaurant earlier. "So, you're Matthew, the investor," starts Alicia. Matthew just bows down his head and apologizes to the lady. But the woman's heart has been broken by the insults he just said. "Let me give you a piece of advice," says Alicia to Matthew. "Being rich doesn't mean being rude. Always remember that karma is always watching," she continues and walks away from the room. Alicia soon publishes a press release about Matthew's behavior, and he loses all the investments he worked hard for. Matthew lived his entire life in regret. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you on the next. Stay tuned.